Okay, so we're going to begin to look here at compositing images together. And one thing I would encourage you to do as you start to combine different images together is to rough things up first. So try not to worry too much about creating the perfect composite before you've tested a few things out. So that's what we're going to do in this tutorial. We're going to have a look at how we very roughly composite some things together with the aim of setting up layers that we can refine later on as we see that things are working or not working. So the first thing is we're going to grab this helicopter image. So I'm selecting all. So select all or Command and A. I'm copying that, Command and C, or Control and C if you're on the PC. And then we will come into this image we're going to composite into. Okay, so we'll go to Edit, Paste. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is just convert this into a smart object. Okay, I might want to increase and decrease the size of this as I'm working on it. So I'm going to set it up as a smart object, which means that as I do that resizing, I don't lose any quality in the image. So if we right click on the layer here, I'm going to convert this layer to a smart object. Okay. All right. So let's now add a layer mask to this image. And we're going to do this with the polygonal lasso tool, just so that we can do this very quickly. So we'll just come around our image here very quickly. And I'm staying away from the edge just because I don't need to worry too much at this stage about having a perfect edge, but I want to be able to see everything that is there if I do kind of move on to actually composite this into the final image. Okay, and you can see here that we've got a couple of things that we'll need to do later on with the image, one of which is to remove my hand and the big ruler from the image, and we do that using the retouching tools once we've got everything in place. Okay, so now we've got that selected, we've got our layer 1 selected, which we'll rename helicopter in a second, and then we'll come down here to add our layer mask. Okay, so I'm going to double click on this layer and just call it helicopter. Okay, so now we can transform our image with its layer mask up and down, and we can also come in and edit that layer mask as we need to. So, okay, now the layer mask itself isn't a smart object, so once we've got things the size we were happy with, then that would be the point at which we would then refine that layer mask. Okay, so the layer mask is resizing as a bitmap image. So I'm going to drag this guy and we'll just get this helicopter flying at a nice angle here. We're going to pop one more image in here. So we've got an image that we've worked on and retouched. Now I want to keep the original layers of this image intact in case I want to come back and work on it. So I'm going to duplicate this image with merged layers. So if you go to Image, and duplicate. Okay, this is going to make a brand new copy of this image, and we'll duplicate merged layers only. So basically it's going to flatten everything that's visible, okay, into one image. So you can see I've got a new copy of that image and it's just as the background layer. Okay, now if you've got lots of area of white around them, then you can save some space, some Photoshop size by selecting part of that image to copy. Okay, so we can still, with this selection, do the detailed masking and correcting of the mask around the edge here, but it means we just haven't copied the whole image, which will keep the size of our eventual layers down a little bit. Okay, so let's come to our image here and we're going to paste Stay Path in, and we'll right click and go to Convert to Smart Object. Okay, and then with this image I'm going to use the magnetic lasso tool just to come round the edge, and even though it's white on white, we've actually got reasonably good distinction between the background white layer and the foreground white. So we'll just come around this image quickly, and the edge detects pretty well. This image has a nice contrast. Okay, we'll come up here, okay, and then add our layer mask. Now we've got these two layers set up here, and we can transform Stay Puft down. We could transform up as well, but you wouldn't want to go any more than around 25% bigger than the size. Stay Puft, the Marshmallow Man on the Alaska Highway with a helicopter flying around him. If we want to select the different layers, you can either select them here to move them. So let's just rename Stay Puft here. Okay, so I can select the helicopter and move it, or select Stay Puft and move him. We can turn on auto select here, or we can hold down Command when we want to select a layer that we're hovering over. So for the helicopter, I can click on it and then select it, and then I can hold down Command and click on Stay Puft and move him too. Okay, so a couple of tips for moving things around when you're starting to build up these layers. If we want to drop Stay Puft into the background here, then let's just downsize him a little bit. Okay, and the helicopter into the foreground, then we would just shuffle our layers like a deck of cards. All right, so now my helicopter is flying in front. So that's a quick overview of how to quickly get some images into the composite, and then we'll go into some of the detail of how to refine these masks.